This is northern Nicaragua. Life here is about working hard. It is also a part of the world where people live with the danger of landmines. These weapons are the pollution of war.
The moment I stepped on the mine, my first thought was to kill myself, just seeing myself without a limb and with the other foot completely destroyed.
Uriel Carrazo is a survivor of the Nicaraguan Contra War. Today, he is part of a Canadian-Nicaraguan solar energy project that is restoring the livelihoods of people disabled by landmines.
Con los rayos del sol, mi cocina solar, con los rayos del sol, secadores solar, con mi fotovoltaico, energía solar, con mi fotovoltaico, energía solar.
This story begins at Brook Centre in Knowlesville, New Brunswick. It is the annual fair. People from the city and country, friends and neighbors. It is a celebration of rural living.
$7, $8, ma'am, you make it 80%.
This is one of our organic garden spots.
Jean Arnold, founder and director of the centre.
We are a 400-acre on-site environmental organization with a particular emphasis on sustainable community development. We have 4 program areas. One is forest stewardship, one is sustainable agriculture, one is community development, and the other is renewable energy.
Renewable energy is part of life at Brook. People see this technology as a cornerstone of a cleaner, brighter future. In 1999, the centre, with financial support from the Canadian International Development Agency, CIDA, began working with landmine survivors in Nicaragua. Called the New Energy Project, it provides landmine awareness, assists survivors with rehabilitation, and creates employment using solar energy. Peter Sundberg is Brook Centre's project coordinator and solar technician working in Nicaragua.
For someone entering into this area like myself when I first came 1 year ago, what I saw and experienced was people living in pretty much extreme poverty, with few employment options, with few means to increase their quality of life.
Nicaragua is part of Central America. Close to the border with Honduras is the town of Somoto, population 16,000, and it is here that the project has a base of operation and works throughout the region. In the village of Sabana Grande, there is the solar workshop of Moro and Marco Antonio.
Hola, Maro. ¿Cómo estás? Bien. Entonces, Marco Antonio, ¿estás adentro?
Sí, está adentro.
Bueno, vamos pues. Marco Antonio.
Hola, Pino.
¿Cómo estás? Muy bien. Pues.
Both landmine survivors, Marco and Moro are technicians who assemble and install photovoltaic panels.
Lo estamos observando que aquí se encuentra menos problema. La energía solar
Solar energy doesn't contaminate the environment. It's a clean form of energy, and when we're using it, there's no noise.
The work they are doing is the result of the New Energy Project.
Entonces vamos a tratar con el nuevo.
Así es.
They are pioneering the process of introducing a new and appropriate technology in Nicaragua. And we're trying to find the most appropriate way to introduce this technology, a way that's both accepted by the people being trained and a way that's accepted by the communities that we're working in.
Using the sun's energy has brought a better quality of life, protecting communities and their environment. In the village of Unils, Teresa Figueroa shows others the benefits of solar ovens.
As promoters of solar ovens, we are thinking about a better future for our children and grandchildren.
In 1985, Teresa survived the blast of an anti-personnel mine, but her son and husband were both killed by them. Teresa is one of many young women who volunteered for the Sandinista army. In the last 100 years, Nicaragua fought off 3 foreign invasions and brought a dictatorship to an end. First, the British in the late 1800s, followed by a 20-year guerrilla war against U.S. Marines, ending in 1933. Soon after, people took up arms against the Somoza dynasty that lasted more than 40 years. Victory came in 1979, but their new freedom was short-lived. For most of the 1980s, they fought an American-backed Contra war and economic embargo that was crippling. Although the war ended in 1988, people continue to live with the weapons left behind. In Nicaragua, there are 80,000 landmines still in the ground. Worldwide, the numbers are staggering. 110 million mines are spread throughout 70 different countries. Over 20,000 people are killed or injured annually. There are 35,000 amputees in Cambodia alone. After much protest from non-government organizations like Handicap International and with political leadership from countries like Canada, the Ottawa Convention was signed in 1997. The convention calls for a total ban of all anti-personnel mines. The United States, China, and Russia, the largest producers of this weapon, do not support the ban. However, most other countries have signed the convention.
The Nicaraguan government has signed the Ottawa document. They also ratify it. In reality, there is a commitment that our government has to fulfill. The other members who signed the agreement in Ottawa have to demand that our government doesn't only remove landmines, but that it also supports the social and economic development of the survivors.
Que apoyen lo que es en reinserción socioeconómica y social de las víctimas. Hola, ¿cómo están?
Uriel is director of the Joint Commission of Handicapped Persons in the region of Madrid. They are a key partner in the New Energy project and bring landmine awareness to affected communities. El Tablón is a community where some people are held hostage to minefields. They cannot farm the land or work in the forest and are less able to meet their basic needs.
We're looking at problems people face with landmines. Some farmers who have mines in their land will pay people 150 Cordobas for each mine they remove. This costs the farmers more than he can afford and threatens the life of others. Prevention is our only choice. We must educate people to the danger.
Support for the New Energy project came sometimes in unusual ways. Carrie Klein and Ryan Miley drove a donated school bus from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan to Halifax, Nova Scotia, and through the United States to Nicaragua. Along the way, they stopped to inform people about the project and to collect donated equipment.
Back here, all these boxes are prosthetic limbs. We've got a few boxes of solar cells donated, and those will go to the project as well as the limbs, so that they'll have more equipment of both kinds that they need.
Let's get involved. Let's get involved. I don't think we can sit this one out.
From the very days that we got involved, it's been so much fun doing the fundraisers, you know, getting out my guitar and playing some shows, and all these people doing all this great music, all this great fun, and all this great awareness. So many people are thinking, wow, I didn't even, like, so many people say, where the hell is Nicaragua, you know? We're just learning and teaching so much. It's great.
And it's come together like magic. People have been so wonderful, just helping us out. And so, yeah, it's hard to believe we're on the way, but we're doing it.
Let's get involved.
Medical and physical rehabilitation are essential for the recovery of survivors. These services are provided in collaboration with the Aldo Chavarria Rehabilitation Hospital in Managua.
Cuando yo montaba el caballo, había alguien que tenía que montarme, ¿verdad?
I remember when I was a horse, someone had to help me mount the horse, and the same person who helped me up had to help me down.
Todo el tiempo no voy a tener esta persona.
But this person will not always be there. I had to learn to do it on my own.
Plantear ese reto, y es cuando uno se propone y lo hace. Entonces cuando yo lo hice,
And of course, I fell many times, but I thought these are just bumps in the road to success.
muchas veces, pero yo dije, estos son golpes para madurar.
Learning to use an artificial limb takes time, but a greater struggle is to feel useful again. Survivors are often seen as less capable, and therefore finding a job in a region of 80% unemployment is near impossible.
Entonces uno se acompleja.
One gets a complex and believes that their life is over. For me, it took a long time. It's been 13 years since it happened. Then to reintegrate myself into society and to realize that I was someone, to feel useful again, that took 5 years.
Finding a Nicaraguan partner on the training side of solar energy came through this man, Dr. Richard Comp, retired professor of physical chemistry.
It's like spreading peanut butter on bread. See? You put some solder
Richard is part of the solar development team at Brook Centre and also works with Renewable Energy in Nicaragua. On the campus of the National Engineering University in Managua is the head office of Grupo Phoenix. Susan Kinney is a founding member.
The group of students and I and Richard Comp, who started the movement that is Phoenix towards making renewable energy accessible in Nicaragua, were working with no funding whatsoever. And when Brook Centre got the very creative idea of rehabilitating landmine victims through solar energy and was able to procure funds from CEDA for that, then we finally had some money to tap all of this tremendous potential.
It is Saturday, a holiday, and the religious festival of Santo Domingo, yet this group of high school teachers have come to learn how to build a solar panel.
Part of Phoenix's goals is to make people owners of science. And the way to make it something that can bring the economy up is to get it in the hands of people. technology that makes people able to transform the sun's energy into work for lifting the quality of life and the quality of the environment. Two very enthusiastic and incredibly dedicated young mechanical engineers, Alexis and Jose Luis, wanted to take us up to their area, Somoto. So we went up there, and along with the very landmine victims themselves, we were able to get a real machine going to make solar energy a reality.
Alexis Martinez and Jose Luis Velchez are with Grupo Phoenix Madrid. Working with Brook Centre, they have developed a solar energy program that is reaching remote communities. Solar technicians and rural educators are traveling to Santa Emilia, a 2-hour climb into the mountains. Most of rural Nicaragua is without electricity.
The government is incapable of getting into these zones. It's very expensive to bring electricity here, but we can. The important thing is that we can reach communities. People who may never have seen electricity in their communities are seeing it now.
Here in Santa Emilia, they are installing a photovoltaic light system in a newly constructed medical station. The photovoltaic panel captures light energy and converts it to electricity. The average panel produces 35 watts of electrical output. Power is stored in a battery for immediate or later use. Panels are custom made, keeping the cost of a system very low, about $600. And it has a life expectancy of 20 years.
The whole process of generating electricity, this is taken to another level when people are creating these panels within their own communities. You're directly at the source. People control the energy they use. They can see it being generated. They can see that it comes from the sun.
Most often used for lighting, the Phoenix Group has installed more than 60 units throughout Nicaragua. This source of power can help provide essential services in education, emergency radio communication, and refrigeration of food and medical supplies. The new energy project in Nicaragua and the work being done at Brook Centre are a collaborative effort to bring global change.
Our premise around working internationally is that we must be doing the same thing here that we go overseas to help others do.
To reduce the dependence on conventional electricity, each building at the center uses some type of renewable energy.
Well, this house that we're coming to is our combination timber frame straw bale house. And this house is also off the grid. It's lit with solar. And it's also our museum. Come on in. We have a lot of school groups and community groups that come out to tour the center, and we can do things in here with them on a rainy day. This is our renewable energy, so everything works here from the solar panel, and this is all solar, and actually it does get people quite interested in. We have a couple of demonstrations here. This came from our work in Nicaragua. We're supporting solar ovens. This is a mini a mini solar oven model. Then we can explain how they, the reality in Nicaragua of how these solar ovens are really transforming the ability of local women to reduce their dependence on firewood.
Y ustedes van a venir 3 ahorita de beneficiadas de aquel. Ustedes lo mismo que lo mismo. Y van a venir 2 nada más.
In poor countries, wood is the main source of fuel. In Nicaragua, wood accounts for 70% of the energy used for cooking. If you can't afford to buy it, you find it yourself. Gathering wood is most often up to women, who must also care for children and the household. They can travel great distances searching for wood, which then puts them at risk of encountering landmines. The large demand for wood leads to deforestation, exposing the land to a greater risk of landslides, and magnifies the impacts of flash flooding and drought conditions. Cooking with wood presents another set of problems. The open fire and the smoke it creates contains toxins that severely damage the eyes and lungs. By contrast, the solar oven is plugged in just by pointing it at the sun. Heat energy that is free and non-polluting.
Deforestation is something we have to avoid in our communities, and solar kitchens have made a big impact.
Teresa travels throughout her community, visiting oven owners such as Utilio Sanchez and his family.
The hours when the oven is hottest is between 11 and 1. And even at 2 o'clock, there's still enough heat from the sun. But by 3, it starts to cool off, just because the sun's going down.
Solar ovens bring social benefits. By reducing the burden of labor, there is more time that can be spent at home with children, to cultivate food, and creates possibilities to generate income.
I feel glorious about it because I help myself and my family. At the same time, we are developing and learning.
Photovoltaic panels also bring benefits and solve problems. 40% of Nicaraguans live without electricity and burn kerosene for light, but this produces harmful pollution and a poor quality of light. Solar lighting is a healthier alternative. In Quebrada Arriba, a solar lighting system was installed in the community center. Local people like Jose Ramon are trained in its care and maintenance.
This can be introduced within a community immediately. It can provide energy sources, one building at a time. They can expand this system slowly, so it becomes a sustainable and economical way of providing real electrification.
Solar energy is renewable and is part of what Jean Arnold sees as the future of work.
We're not going to ask for jobs that dam up rivers in order to, flood areas. We're not going to suggest jobs in the nuclear industry. We want to suggest jobs in areas that respect the planet and that respect the land that we live on and respect each other in what I call the new workforce.
Investments in renewable energy produce 50% more jobs and business opportunities, and costs far less considering the environmental damage that comes with conventional energy development. Solar ovens and photovoltaics reduce air pollution that would normally contribute to global climate change.
Nicaragua, certainly most non-Western countries are so aware of climate change. They see the droughts more frequent, they see the monsoons and the rains coming more erratically. They know they're in climate change, so they want to be part of the solution instead of being part of the problems.
A changing climate has brought drier conditions to many parts of the world, and Nicaragua is no exception. People are experiencing their third year of drought. Most crops have failed, and much of the rural population is facing starvation. To help cope with the problem, people are constructing water catchment and storage systems. With a view to a larger community-based energy project, Brook Centre is evaluating another form of renewable energy. At a nearby farm, Sam Dodd and Wayne Grosco have come to the top of this pasture to download the latest wind readings. Data to this point show that there is enough wind to turn the blades of a 1 megawatt wind generator. A community-owned and operated project, the wind turbine will feed power into the main electrical grid. It will provide the electrical needs of local people, create employment, as well as generate thousands of dollars in surplus power.
People can't stay in a rural area unless they can earn a living in that rural area. Well, it's the very same in the non-Western world, is people are losing their children to the urban areas because they can't keep their communities viable because they can't have the jobs, so their cultures get lost. So why not harness renewable energy and make it work for local people?
The new energy project has exceeded all expectations. Over 3,000 people have benefited from the introduction of this technology, and today, 10 people are directly employed in the industry.
De la casa base. Este cuadrito que ustedes ven por acá es el panel.
Pensamos nosotros que esta es una alternativa para las comunidades. En cuanto las comunidades
We believe this is an alternative for the community. The community will benefit just as we have benefited, because we're not what we used to be.
Ya tenemos un avance más en la parte económica.
Now we have advanced economically. It has helped us in a big way in meeting our needs.
La necesidad que tenemos.
The landmine victims were people who believed that they were never going to be able to get jobs. And now they are using the creativity and their own persistence that they learned just to survive before to be leaders for other people and to show the whole world how a small rural community can find its way out of the poverty syndrome.
You can't waste the sun. It's the king, the father of the poor.
Como dicen de nosotros los pobres.
If you can generate all your energy needs with solar, why not?